Sports Attack. I'm the Mac himself, Marvin Allen Cox, and this is the NFL Trade Deadline Special. Let's go. So, the trade deadline is less than 2 hours away. Let's see. We got an hour and 40 minutes. An hour and 40 minutes to make as much trades as we can. A couple big trades have already trickled through. So let's go ahead and talk about what has happened. And let's talk about what is going to go down next. What do you think is going to go down next? Chime in. Let me know. Go in the comments. Yell at me. What do you want to talk about? Who do you want to see trade? Where do you want to see them go? I'll give you my inputs, and I value yours as well. So first things first. News of the day. Breaking news. Montez Sweat, defensive end from the Washington Commanders. The Washington Commanders has been traded to whom, you may say? To the Chicago Bears. Now, why that is majorly interesting is because Montez Sweat has 6.5 sacks this season. All right, that's tied for 6 in the NFL. Now, there's a million people who are tied at 6. But, hey, top 6 in sacks in the league is pretty damn strong. And Montez Sweat has been a great name since coming into the league from the SEC, Mississippi State. So, he was a big name to be traded. One of the big names that we projected to be traded. Obviously, we all want to see Saquon, Devonte Adams, Jerry Jeudy. But right up top there in the mix was Montez Sweat. We didn't know if the Washington Commanders were buyers, sellers, or if they were going to stay put. As it looks like they were competitive and they could compete in the NFC. But the Philadelphia Eagles, good Lord, they're a hard team to catch right now in their division in the NFC East. The Giants, we just beat y'all. So I'm going to be kind, but the Giants are laid down right now. They just traded Leonard Williams, which is the trade we'll talk about next. So they obviously are selling. And the Cowboys look like they're a good team as well. So it makes sense for the two teams not in the mix to sell. And that being the Washington Commanders and the Giants. And that's exactly what they did. Now, the very interesting part is, I'm going to flip the script because they flipped the script on us. The Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears are buyers. Who would have thought? I would never have. The Chicago Bears are a mess, but somehow they are competitive at the same time, kind of, sort of, in a way. They have this new quarterback that we never heard of. Bagnett came from Division II with Justin Fields hurt. Justin Fields, what do we have, man? We all believe in him. We all thought he was going to take a huge leap this year into being, showing his flashes of what he can be in the future. And he's just, I don't know, like one game he sucks, one game, 3 touchdowns, and that's happened twice. So what do they have with Justin Fields? We don't know. So I thought that they were going to be sellers as they were going to continue to see what they have with Justin Fields, as well as continue to get a top pick because they have 2 first-round picks coming, and both of them could be very well be in the top 5. So if they wanted to move on from Justin Fields, they have a very well chance to do so if they continue losing games, as they can get the number 1 pick. And the most hyped quarterback prospect for years has been Mr. Caleb Williams. We're calling him Patrick Mahomes light because he looks and plays similar to Patrick Mahomes, even though he can never beat Utah. Anyways, so the Bears, I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what they're doing. Right now, they are 2-6. So you're obviously not in the hunt to make the playoffs. The closest right now, the last spot is the Vikings. So we'll talk about that as well. I mean, they miraculously made a comeback to the season after starting 0-3. We all calling them out. We all said that Kirk Cousins should have left. Kirk Cousins is a fringe top 10 quarterback in the league. If you hate it or love it, I mean, facts are facts. He was top 3 in touchdowns. And I was hoping the Jets got him, early in the season, but he did a good job keeping him in contention, even without the best receiver in the league. And here he is, man. They got to 4-4, but he tore his Achilles. So another cherry we're about to talk about that just happened. In case you didn't know, Joshua Dobbs is now on the Vikings. So the Vikings aren't giving up. They're 4-4. The Saints are 4-4. The Bucks look very decent at 3-4. And then you got the Rams at 3-5. So I don't know where the hell the Bears think they can hop into the playoffs, being at 2-6. I honestly thought they were competing for the number one pick. And they go ahead and make a big time trade, trading a big asset as well, a second round pick to get Montez Sweat. Now, the reason why that is supremely interesting to me is because Montez Sweat is not on a long contract. Montez Sweat is due to be a free agent at the end of this season. So if that's the case, you're not getting an asset who you're seeing as a fit for long term, because that would have made sense to me if they're like, hey, he's a high sack man, we can make him even better here, as the Bears are known to be a good defensive franchise. But a 1-year rental, giving away a second round pick, being 2-6, starting a rookie who is from Division II. I don't know if it makes much sense. So to me, the supreme winners of this trade are the Washington Commanders, as they find a way to flip an asset which they likely were not signing back for a whole second round pick. That's amazing. That's amazing for a 1-year rental. And they still got, pass rushers galore over there. The defensive line is actually one of the best in the NFL, and you thought they would have done better. But they're also talking about trading Chase Young, who they're talking about not signing back. So I think the Washington Commanders are doing good business right now. They're seeing what they got with Sam Howell. They're keeping the offensive talent that they have, as they have a good receiver group. But they said, you know what? We're not going to sign these guys back anyway. Let's get some assets to continue to build on the future. Bears, I don't know what the hell you're thinking. If you are moving on from Fields, you can use 1 first-round pick on Caleb Williams, which will be a quarterback in the future, and another on Marvin Harrison, who is seen as one of the best wide receiver prospects in the years to come. His father, Marvin Harrison, this is Marvin Harrison Jr. His father, Marvin Harrison, was one of the best receivers, Hall of Famer all time. So obviously it looks like it's translating to him as well. So he already has that pedigree in him. And with those first two picks, with that second round pick, you can be rebuilding very quickly. So I don't know why the Bears would throw away a second round pick for Montez Sweat, especially if they're not trying to compete right now. But hey, that was the big trade of the day, Montez Sweat to the Chicago Bears. I want to say good news for them and the fans that they are buyers. They are trying. But what are you trying for? to get away from the first round pick? You can freaking change a whole franchise next year. If you don't get Fields, if you don't keep Fields, you can trade him for multiple first round picks. Somebody will buy into his talent. And you, like I said, you can have Caleb Williams and Marvin Harrison and multiple more first round picks. Wow. That's very good business going forward. Or if you decide that Justin Fields is your guy and you get the first pick in the draft, you trade you get a big haul. I mean, look at Trey Lance trade. What they gave 3 first round picks for him, and he wasn't even the number 1 pick in that draft. So Caleb Williams, how he's been getting hyped, you might have got 3 first round picks and some second round picks too. I don't know what the Bears are doing. I don't know why they're buying. I don't understand their logic. But hey, they tried. So big trade of the day was Montez Sweat. What is your take on it? I think the Washington Commanders supremely won that trade, and I'm shocked that they did such good business, because the Commanders are known to having such good business. So that's number 1. All right, number 2, trade that happened today, in case you didn't know. Josh Dobbs going to the Vikings. Now, I haven't seen the conversation really yet. Some are saying it's a 5th round pick. Who cares? It's going to be something low, as Josh Dobbs is a backup quarterback. I think it's amazing business on both sides. And I think both teams are winners of this trade, which is, hard in this day and age that both teams win. But why I say both teams win. The Arizona Cardinals just benched Josh Dobbs, who I think did an excellent job this season coming in as a backup quarterback. The Cardinals were seen to be the worst team in the league, and he made them kind of relevant. They beat some teams. They made a lot of games close, but somehow they're still 1-7. So they're going nowhere fast. And they benched him for some no-name rookie. So they had no future with Dobbs, and Kyler Murray is about to come back as well. And it is to be said from sources that they're going to give Kyler Murray every chance second half of the season to play so they can see if he's the quarterback of the future. Because obviously they're flirting with the Bears to get that number 1 pick as well, which could very well be Caleb Williams. So good business on them as they're saying, well, you're about to be the third-string quarterback, buddy. Why do we need to keep you here? And good business on the Vikings as Kirk Cousins just got hurt. Kirk Cousins just got them back into relevancy without the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL in Jay Jettas. And Jay Jettas is supposed to be coming back here soon. So they just turned Jordan Addison, who was a rookie, who we all thought was going to be a good player, into a star with Jay Jettas out. So now you're going to have Addison and Jettas. And then KJ Osborne is a pretty good third wide receiver now, if that happens. So they came up to 4-4. One of the guys they was talking about trading, Danielle Hunter, who we're going to be talking about here soon, leads the NFL in sacks with 10 sacks. So now they're saying they're going to keep him. They're 4-4, and if the season ended today, they would have the number 7 spot, the last spot, going into the playoffs. And they're right behind the Niners, who are now 5-3. They tied with the Falcons record-wise, who are 4-4 as well. So they're right in the playoff hunt. So I guess they said, we're going for it. And it is a good fit because Stefanski, who's the head coach, was there in Arizona when Dobbs was there. So Dobbs probably already knows the playbook, already knows the language, and they are showing they're not giving up. So the Vikings give a low draft pick to get a starting caliber quarterback and continue to make this playoff hunt, this playoff push. So I think it's great business on both sides. As the Vikings, hey, let's go for it. We're not giving up a lot to get it. And the Cardinals saying, hey, he never going to play for us again anyway, potentially. So why not let him go start somewhere? So pretty good business on both sides. I think that was a really cool and awesome trade that happened earlier today. And it's seen as a pretty big trade because Dobbs put his name on the map this season playing for the Cardinals. The record doesn't show it, but us NFL watchers who've been watching, he's earned our respect. Thirdly, we all have Leonard Williams as a huge trade from the Giants. My Jets did not deserve to win on Sunday, but it was a heartbreaking, heart-wrenching loss for the Giants. And I guess they said season's over. So Leonard Williams has been traded. He's one of their star defensive linemen, defensive ends. He came into the league courtesy of my Jets, and he just didn't pan out as a D end. When he went to the Giants, they kind of put him more as a D lineman, and he got a lot better. So he's a great run stopper, a great player that the Seahawks are getting. And the Seahawks, we all know their defense is their calling cat. Pete Carroll definitely is a defensive coach. You know, they have a good secondary right now. Isaiah's drafted well in the past 2 years. Having, you know, star cornerbacks in the making. One who got second place to Sauce Gardner in Defensive Player of the Year last year. And they're adding to that defense, making the line better, making the team better. They right now are winning the division over the 49ers, the team who we thought was unstoppable just a couple weeks ago. So the Seahawks are buying. They are looking to make the playoffs and make a push. And the Giants are saying, we're waving the white flag. They just don't have the roster to compete. Their defense looks amazing. Dexter Lawrence leading that line. So maybe they said, hey, we have defensive line, we're set. So why not prepare to build for next year and make a quick rebuild? So makes sense. Giants waving the white flag, trading away assets. Who knows? There might be more assets to be traded by the end of the day. So let's use that to slide right into who you want to see traded today, who will be a big news trade today. I don't know why. He says he wants to stay. They say they want to keep him. But Saquon Barkley, I have this feeling in my gut here that Saquon will be traded today. So slide right into it. The Giants are sellers. They can continue to sell, and they can make some great strides by trading Saquon Barkley. They say they don't want to trade him. Saquon says he doesn't want to go. But their record is horrible. They just aren't winning games. I mean, dang, they're so far down. I got to keep scrolling. They're 2-6. They're going nowhere fast. This past weekend, they had to use a third-string quarterback, Mr. DeVito, who we've never heard of in our life. They had -8 passing yards. Daniel Jones is injury-prone. He's been out hurt a couple times this season already. And who's to say he doesn't continue to get hurt? Tyrod Taylor, their backup quarterback, I feel bad for him. I like the guy a lot, but he continues to get hurt while playing against the Jets. If I'm him, the next time the Jets are on his schedule, I'm thinking an ankle injury because he keeps losing starting roles to the Jets. So I feel bad for the kid, but they're down to their third-string quarterback. So if Daniel Jones gets hurt again, is this guy going to have negative passing yards again? We don't know. So why not keep blowing up the ship? Keep blowing up what you got right now. And the best asset for them to let go of would be Saquon Barkley. Now, we all know in this offseason, they didn't have a good taste in Saquon's mouth as, well, pause. They didn't leave a good taste in Saquon's mouth, pause. I know the New Yorkers are watching. They're going to get me for that. But by not giving him a contract, he wanted to get paid. He wasn't asking to be the top paid running back in the league, which is Christian McCaffrey with his $16 million. He was like, hey, give me 13, give me 14. And they just refused to do that. So they franchise tagged him and gave him 10. He did not want to play on the franchise tag. It was a very ugly mess. So for both of them to say, I don't want to leave and we don't want to trade him, sounds like a load of BS to me. So why would you want to stay for a team that doesn't want to pay you and shows that they're not willing to budge and even negotiate with you? And Giants, why would you want to keep a guy that you don't believe enough to pay and you blatantly showed that, hey, we're not going to pay you, and you know you made him up mad. You know you upset him. So he's on a 1-year deal with his franchise tag. There's no way I see them tagging him again because obviously he's going to get a substantial pay increase for that to happen. And with that being said, why keep him? Y'all suck this year. You don't want to pay the man. Why the hell are you going to hold him hostage? Just to win 1 or 2 games this season? End up being 4 and 12? For what? So Saquon could help a lot of teams as a 1-year rental. He's on a fairly reasonable contract as they only gave him $10 million. I think they gave him an extra $1 million bonus to keep him happy, and that's why he came back, if I remember correctly. So you're only paying him for half a season. $5 million for a Saquon Barkley? How the hell do you say no? So the problem is, what would the Giants want in return? Obviously, they're going to want a first-round pick as they use the first-round pick to get him a pretty high first-round pick to get him above top 10 first-round pick to get Saquon Barkley. So why wouldn't they expect the same in return? Now, I think he's deserving of a first-round pick, but would the Giants want more? Would they want a first and a fourth or something like that for a 1-year rental? That's where the problem comes in. A 1-year rental. So with that being a 1-year rental, I just don't see them people overpaying for Saquon, even though he's an immense talent, unless they know he's resigning with them. Now, maybe the Giants can finesse that, where Saquon, okay, look, we're not going to resign you. We know you deserve money. Let's say he's going to, which I would hate, the Buffalo Bills. And the Bills say, look, we'll give you a 5-year extension. Maybe then they can get multiple high-end picks. But as of right now, I just don't see someone overpaying for Saquon. So that may be a reason why he stays today. But let's keep it exciting, guys. Saquon is getting traded today. Woo! Big time news for any neutral NFL fans. Big things. Where can he go? Where would he make the best impact? So let's talk it out. The Buffalo Bills, every year, they are seen to be Super Bowl contenders. And the past couple years, they've made it pretty far. Last year, they didn't make it to the AFC Championship. The Bengals did, and the Bengals were this close to beating the Chiefs again. But the Bengals are a little down this year. I mean, they're coming up quick, so this would have been the year to catch them. And the Chiefs do not look like world beaters this year. The Chiefs, yes, they have the number 1 seed, but they look very beatable this season. And with them being very beatable, I think this is your time to strike. Okay, the Miami Dolphins are out there, but they show they could lose. The Jets are out there, but with Zach Wilson leading the charge, their offense cannot be taken serious, so you can't really take them serious. You can take their defense serious. So that's like saying you can only take half of them serious. So I think this would be a perfect time for the Bills to strike. Now, it's unfortunate they lost players like Tremont Edmonds and Milano. Amazing defensive players, which took their team over the top. But they're gone. So now they have to rely more on the offense. And for some reason, when the Bills have a lead, they are unstoppable because that defense plays a lot better. Josh Allen plays a lot smarter. And that's how they blow out a couple teams. But when they're in close games, especially this season, it just looks like they choke. Josh Allen, I don't know, feels the pressure or what. He takes more risk, and they end up losing. So right now, the Buffalo Bills are in the 5 seed. They are 5-3. They look very beatable every day. They're still a great team. Don't get me wrong. They still can compete for the AFC, and they still could get into the Super Bowl. But lately, they've been looking very shaky. And how do you fix that? How do you make that better? How do you make them into a Super Bowl contender? You give them an offensive weapon. Now they have James Cook, Latavius Murray. Over the years, they've tried multiple running backs, but none have panned out to be a great addition. None have panned out to be a great help to Josh Allen. And because of that, I think their offense is not as potent as it could be. So if they added Saquon Barkley to an offense that already has a superstar wide receiver in Stephon Diggs and a speedster in Gabe Davis, you now have this beautiful young tight end rookie, Kincaid, who is showing to be a nice option as well. And then you still have Knox, who, he's coming back from injury. So just adding Saquon Barkley makes everybody infinitely better. It makes the running game better where Josh Allen could start running more. They could start doing these RPOs again. It makes Stephon Diggs better because now they can't really double him as much. They got to worry about Saquon coming from the backfield. It just opens up the offense for everybody. And he's a receiving option as well. I think Josh Allen could hugely benefit from having another receiving option. And it just makes perfect sense, perfect fit. He's still in New York. He doesn't have to go far. And if he wanted to stay at the Giants was just because he wanted to stay in New York because his family is from that area, his dad being a Jets fan, this is a great fit. You're staying in New York. You're going on a team where you're a Super Bowl contender, and you make the team infinitely better. Checks all the boxes to me. So I don't know if the Bills are willing to sacrifice to get Saquon, but I think it would be a great fit. Who else would be a good fit? The Ravens, the Baltimore Ravens. Man, they finally got some receiving options out there, but then they dropped too many damn balls. But Zay Flowers, Odell Beckham Jr., good receiving options. Mark Andrews, second best tight end in the NFL. It's just at the running back position, players keep getting hurt. And Lamar Jackson, we've seen what he can do when they have a good running game. It can help increase him being able to run as well. So imagine you insert a Saquon Barkley. Good God. Saquon and freaking Lamar Jackson in an RPO together is low-key very scary for the NFL. And it would maybe ease the pressure from these wide receivers. Maybe they would, with less pressure, they hold on to the ball more. Maybe they drop less. And it just opens up the offense all around. So Saquon Barkley to the Ravens, a great fit as well. Saquon Barkley to the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns, man, their defense is so freaking good, man. Myles Garrett is so freaking good, man. And when the Browns are best is when they have a good running game. As they showed when Nick Chubb was back there, they were destined to maybe win the division. Browns winning the division sounds like a fantasy, right? So how can they get back on track? The quarterback keeps getting hurt, and Deshaun Watson. PJ Walker is out there dying. And I just think with a fearful running back again, it just makes the offense so much better. It opens up where people aren't going to like blitz so much the quarterback as they are fearful of Saquon coming out of the back. It makes everybody more conscious of defending them. It just makes them a better team without going more into it. So I think Saquon Barkley to the Browns would be a great fit as well. And then my last picks here, Saquon to the Buccaneers. I'll make it shorter this time. The Buccaneers, they're competing for the division. The Falcons are winning the division with 4-4. The Panthers suck. Okay. The Saints are wishy-washy. They're 4-4 as well. With them being at 3-4, they're very pleasant surprise with Baker Mayfield leading the charge. That they look like they could be a playoff team. Rachaad White, he's just not it. I like him, but he's just not it. Averaging 3 yards a carry. I have him on fantasy, so I've seen it as well. He just doesn't get a lot of yards. He tries really hard, and he ends up the game with 40 yards, 37 yards, 50 yards at most. So imagine if they had a Saquon Barkley coming out of the backfield. He just got over 100 yards against the Jets defense, which is seen as one of the best in the league. He's a good pass option. You got Mike Evans, you got Godwin, you can have Barkley to target as well. It would make the team so much better. So those are 4 teams I think Saquon will be huge fits for. You can add a fifth one in there. The Houston Texans, they did not believe to be playoff contenders this year. But C.J. Stroud has shown that he is the front runner of Rookie of the Year. He's played very well. Dameon Pierce, he had a really good season last year, but he just can't do it alone, it looks like. So if you add Saquon to the mix with these wide receivers we never really heard of, but earned our respect this year, and Nico Collins and Tank Dell, it just makes the team better. So adding a Saquon to that mix could make the Texans make a playoff push, which they haven't been to the playoffs for a while. Not as long as the Jets' 12-year drought, of course. But they haven't made the playoffs for a while. So those are 5 teams I think Saquon can make very much so better. Those are 5 trades that has very good, reasons are happening. I mean, the Bills, the Ravens, they can go to the Super Bowl this year if they get Saquon. The Browns, if Deshaun Watson can find a way to not be hurt every 10 seconds, they can make a playoff push this year. So it's very intriguing for all of these teams to look for this trade. You can also throw the Vikings in there. The Vikings gave up on Dalvin Cook. They said they're not paying him. It's showing like it was a very great decision as he looks a shell of himself as the Jets so far this season. But maybe they're willing to pay. We all thought it's because they didn't want to pay the running back position. But maybe they just knew his talent fell off a cliff. So maybe with Saquon, they are willing and able to pay for a running back. And with them being at 4-4 and losing Kirk Cousins, maybe they'll be more interested in finding a way to make the playoffs as they just traded for Dobbs by getting another asset in Saquon Barkley. So those are 6 teams I think will be great fits for Saquon Barkley, great fits for the team. And I think these teams would be willing to give up assets to get him as well. So Saquon Barkley, can it happen, guys? Where do you want to see him go? Do you think he goes? Will the Giants be dumb to let him go? What's your thoughts? I think the Giants will be dumb to keep him because if at the end of the season they don't pay him again, what did you keep him for? To suck? Because y'all are going to suck still. If Danny Dimes comes back and he's turning the ball over, Y'all need wide receivers. The Giants need wide receivers, and it makes sense to load up on draft picks to build the team back up quickly next season. You're not going nowhere this year. Just accept it and keep it rolling. You had the coach of the year last year. Maybe with him getting some draft picks in, he can be coach of the year candidate again next year, but it's not happening this year. So let Saquon go. Free Saquon! So that is a big trade I think can happen today. I don't want to keep this live too long, guys. I don't want to bore you. But let's put one more big trade that can happen today. Should we talk about Devonte Adams? Devonte Adams, man. I feel so bad for him. Let's keep him accountable, though. He did drop some balls last night. There was that one pass that was a little behind him, but you're freaking Devonte Adams. You can make that catch. If he caught it, he probably went to the house. And they're still in the game. But it wasn't a great pass. Let's be real. So we can't give him a pass. I'm going to try to edit in the video. He's here like, I can't effing believe this. We effing suck. He's throwing the helmet. He's upset. He's frustrated. He doesn't want to be there. And what really surprised me is that he didn't push harder to get out in the offseason as he went to the Raiders, which was his childhood club, to play with his best friend, Derek Carr. And they got Derek Carr out of there 1 year later. So if it was me, I would have felt misguided. I would have felt misled that I came here to play with my best friend and you got him out of here. Now I got to play with Garoppolo. So I'm surprised he has not pushed for a trade harder. Maybe because they gave him the money, he showed them some respect, which he should. So I respect that from him. But it's only going to get worse and it's only going to get uglier. So I think this is the time for the Raiders to suck it up and do the right thing and let him go. You can very much so get a first-round pick and more for Devonte Adams. And I don't know. I don't think y'all are on track to make the playoffs. I mean, they're 3-5. Anything's possible as there's a lot of 3-win and 4-win teams in the AFC this season. The bottom spots are going to be very much fought after. So there's a lot of teams still in the hunt. So maybe they think they're still in the hunt. But if they see what all of us in the NFL world see, that's not the team. And Garoppolo is not it. So I think you should start preparing for the future. Devonte Adams can make a lot of teams exponentially better. Who do you think is a good fit? So Devonte Adams gets traded. Holy shit, breaking news. Where does he go? Again, I don't know why, because I do not want the Bills to be great. I want my Jets to end the longest freaking playoff drought in North America major sport history right now. It's 12 years, and it happens to be the New York Jets. I want them to find a damn way. But that's for another time, another discussion. So if the Bills get better, obviously that hurts our chances. But it would be great for the NFL if Devonte Adams did indeed go to the Buffalo Bills. Can you imagine Stephon Diggs on one side and Devonte Adams on the other? And then you got a speedster in Gabe Davis who takes you off the top. So you can't just guard all of them. Man. We just talked about how their running back situation is trash, right? But that even makes the running backs look better. When you have 3 wide receivers, everybody has to account for. You can't load the box. So maybe it makes James Cook better. It makes every running back in their system look better by having a Devonte Adams, by having paired with a Stephon Diggs. Stephon Diggs been so animated, so angry lately. Man, can you imagine how happy you would be to see Devonte Adams with him on the other side? And they're a Super Bowl contender off rip with that trade, as they can now definitely compete with the Bengals, with the Dolphins, with the Chiefs. So who's to say Devonte Adams isn't that missing piece that can take them over the top? Because every year they love to really hype up the Bills, and this is the team, and Josh Allen is the MVP candidate, but they made no Super Bowls. Shut up and put your money where your mouth is. This is how you do it. You get Devonte Adams. So that's the number one place I think would be a good fit for him. I'm scratching this one out. The Browns, I don't think he's a good fit for the Browns. I think he's just going to, him and Amari Cooper are just going to get pissed that they suck, and it will be even worse of a situation he's at with the Raiders. The Packers take him back. They have a lot of young receivers that are good talent, but they either drop balls or they're just not reliable enough. They have Dobbs, they have Christian Watson, they have the Reed kid. So they have multiple options. But you need a man in that room. And they know him. He was been there for a million years. He knows the community. His family knows the school. You know, he knows everything about that organization. I don't know if it's still a bad taste in his mouth, but I think they did him right by letting him go to get his money. So I just think if they feel the need that they'll help Jordan Love develop and it'll make them a lot more competitive, why not take Devonte Adams back? Right your wrongs. You did wrong by Rodgers. You made him upset because you didn't pay him. You bring him back. You win some games. He's happy. So, and then the Kansas City Chiefs. Good Lord Jesus. Can you imagine? They let Tyreek Hill go because they pretty much said we don't need to pay top dollars to a wide receiver, which I agree with them. They said offensively we're going to scheme and we'll be fine. And they used all their draft picks to build up that defense. And it's been a great decision as this is a top 10 defense now. And you got Patty Mahomes on the other side who always gives you a chance to win. But their only weapon that's reliable is Travis Kelce. Pacheco out of the backfield is a good asset as well. But if you added Devonte Adams to that offense, if Patrick Mahomes had Travis Kelce and Devonte Adams, all the other teams in the league, you just have to pray. So I'm not going to harp on it much. I do not think it can happen because of the contract. They can't afford to get him. But fit-wise, it would be sensational. Whew, I'm scared just thinking about it. And last but not least, I had to do it. The Jets! Jets. Now, the scary part, if we did went and got Devonte Adams, would be, can Zach Wilson even get him the freaking ball? Zach Wilson is not it at quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. Oh, he's developed. He's gotten better. Yeah, he's gotten better. He's gone from he should have been in the XFL to now he's a third-string quarterback caliber. He's trying to hold down the fort till Aaron Rodgers come back, which may or may not happen this year. So if I just see a situation where he comes over, Devontae is really happy, and if Zach Wilson doesn't get him the ball because he's not capable of doing so, he gets mad and upset, and it ends up kind of breaking up the culture we have here. But also, though, he could just bite his tongue for the rest of the season because he knows his boy, the guy who got him all of his accolades and his touchdowns, Aaron Rodgers, will be the quarterback guaranteed next season. And if you take Garrett Wilson and Devonte Adams, the guy who Aaron Rodgers himself compared to Devonte Adams, he said, this guy got a little Devonte in him. So now you actually have the guy you compared him to and the guy who's like him on the same field running routes for you? I'd cry. I'd cry real tears. Because the Jets, we've never had a great offense in my lifetime like that. So it'd be an exciting venture, and I think that's an easy sell to Devonte Adams. Hey, man, we need you right now to help us find a way to get over the edge to break into the playoffs. But we also want you to know that your boy Aaron Rodgers will be back. And I'm sure Aaron will be part of the conversation. Hey, dog, you know how much fun we had. in Green Bay. We can do it together. And we have a guy who's across from you, who's young, that's just as good as you, so you won't be on your own. You'll get one-on-one coverage. What do you say? Devonte Adams, Garrett Wilson, and Breece the Beast Hall with Aaron Rodgers? That's a Super Bowl caliber team with this defense. If you're a Jets fan or not, you know that's true. Could Devonte Adams make Zach Wilson better as well? If he has two people he can target, doesn't make it better for Breece Hall, because you have a Hall of Fame wide receiver on the left. You have the reigning Rookie of the Year wide receiver on the right. Well, does that open up lanes for Breece Hall to make Breece Hall even more dangerous? So even if Zach Wilson does suck still and he can't get them the ball, it gives Breece the Beast the space to do what he does. So I think it would be an incredible asset to the Jets. They can't afford him this year. Next year it gets fishy, as you know, Rodgers did take the huge pay cut this season. So, but hey, figure out next year. Get that man in-house now. So those are my two big trades that can break the NFL spectrum today. Saquon getting traded, Devonte Adams getting traded. Let's end this short, guys. We're 40 minutes in. Thank you for watching the Max Sports Attack Trade Deadline Special. If you have any comments, if you think my takes are trash, if you believe in my takes, if you want to see different trades, comment below. Send some love. And let's start the sports discussion, because this is the best time of the year, man. NFL is here. A lot of teams are in the hunt. So the NFL is highly competitive. There's a lot of parity. So happy to be part of this season. Hopefully the Jets can make the hunt. We have another big names that could be traded, like Jerry Jeudy, Chase Young. I wonder if the Titans are still selling now that Will Levis has came in. Maybe they don't, but DeAndre Hopkins could help a team. You know, get a draft pick for an older asset. But man, trade deadline is officially in less than an hour now. So I'm going to sit back and watch, and maybe we can react together on what does and doesn't happen in the next video. Thanks for watching the Mac Sports Attack. I'm the Mac himself, Marvin Allen Cox, and I'm out.